Let's talk the cup. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the cup. Woo!
Well, good evening, everybody. Hey, it's Cutler here on the Let's Talk the Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk the Cutler virtual book club, the Let's Talk the Cutler YouTube channel, and I am here another Tuesday. It is the 26th of March, and the month again is just flying right on by. And I don't know about you, but I'm glad to be able to spend quality time with people who encourage me, people who motivate me, people who inspire me. So that is what I'm hoping to do. Every time I show up, I'm hoping to inspire, motivate, challenge. And sometimes we don't like the challenges because the challenges will sometimes challenge us to um, think outside of the box and go outside of our comfort zone. So I just want to remind us, don't run away from a challenge. Don't walk away from a challenge, but stand up and face the challenge. Stand up and face it and be strong and say, you know what? I got something for you, challenge. And what I have for you is called victory. What I have for you is called overcoming. What I have for you is called winning. So make sure that you always stand face to face with your challenges and don't shrink in the face of a challenge. Just go right for it. Go for what you know. So again, if this is your first time tuning in, this is your first time hearing me, then do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe and click on the notification bell, because it lets you know whenever I've gone live and whenever I've uploaded new content. I'll shout out the LTTC VIPs in just a moment. They are the people who tend to make it over to the chat slightly before I do, and sometimes way before I do. But again, I'm delighted to be able to spend this time with everybody. This evening, I want to talk about just make it through. And I'll talk again from a very personal space. Just sometimes you just have to just make it through. I read something this morning, earlier today, rather, that sort of encouraged me, and I'll share it with you in just a moment. But let me just go ahead and shout out those who are over in the chat. Meanwhile, listen, do me a favor. Go on and tell someone, come on and let's talk to Cutler, because you have no idea what I'm going to talk about this evening. Go ahead, you all. Go on and tell them, come on, let's talk to Cutler, because he's going to talk about making it through. Sometimes all you can do is just make it through, but that's not a bad thing. Sometimes all you can do is just face the challenges, but that's not a bad thing. Sometimes all you can do is just stand up to the giant, but that is not a bad thing. So let me go and shout out the LTTC VIPs. From what I see on my end, you all don't get mad with me. From what I see on my end, the first people that I see in the chat tonight are Annie Cutler, Marissa, and Shanita Boone. It's so good to see all of you. I'm delighted to have you all. I see that some of you are still logging in and making your way on over to the chat. Go and grab your favorite beverage, your tea, your water, lemonade, and come on over. And if you have snacks, make sure that you brought enough for everybody. Okay. Earlier today, you all, I read something that said, in life, there are some things we might never really get over. So, that caught my attention, particularly in light of the fact that I just recently bade farewell to my grandmother, my mother's mother, and a beautiful woman at the age of 97 years old. So I read this quote today. It said, in life, there are some things we might never really get over. Sometimes the best we can do is just get through. But that's okay. There's still a lot of beauty to find on the other side. Let that resonate for just a moment. In life, there are some things we might never really get over. And isn't that the truth? How many of us can attest to the fact that some things you just never get over? But the quote goes on to say, sometimes the best we can do is just get through. So you have to live with it. You have to navigate through it. You have to meander your way around it. And sometimes you have to jump through hurdles. You have to avoid the pitfalls. You have to avoid the potholes. But you just got to make it through. So some things you don't get over, but you manage to get through. And as you're getting through, you still carry the weight of it all. You still carry the scars of it all. You carry all the baggage and the luggage of everything. You deal with all the residue of the things that you are still going through. So you may not get over some things, but you can get through it. As a matter of fact, sometimes I think it's very rude to tell people to just get over it. I never say to people, just get over it. I say you can get through it. Just manage your way, navigate your way, meander your way through it. There are some things in life that will hit you so hard that you will never get through. Some things will hit you so hard in life until you will carry a scar with you eternally. And as you're carrying that scar, don't worry about trying to get over it. Just get through it. Because on the other side of through, I just encouraged myself. I was getting ready to grab onto the sides of the seat. On the other side of through, there are still a lot of beautiful things to find. Sometimes we face things and we think, "Oh my God, this is the end of me. This is the end all, be all. It's all over now." But I promise you, it's never all over now, because even though you don't get over it, you can get through it. And when you get through it, you have to remind yourself there are some beautiful things. There are some things that are filled with hope and prosperity and peace and all of that on the other side of through. On the other side of through, there are some beautiful things. And I know sometimes we say, "Well, Cutler, how in the world am I going to do it? How do I get through? How do I get through it?" I came with I came with an offering this evening where I want to talk about how we sometimes just get through. Sometimes all you can do is just get through. I was going to feel like a Baptist preacher and say, "Do I have any witnesses over in the comments section?" But how many of us know that sometimes all you can do is just get through? Don't let people push you out of your comfort zone. Don't let people make you feel bad because you're just getting through. Don't let people make you feel any kind of way. As a matter of fact, when they start making you feel in all kinds of ways, sometimes you just have to shut them down and shut them out. Because the most you can do is make it through. And when people are stressing you out and adding to the weight that you're already carrying, you need to say, "Nope, nope," put the brakes on and say, "Nope, no. At this point, that is unnecessary stress. That's unnecessary anxiety. I don't need it, because all I'm trying to do is to make it through." So then, Cutler, how do we make it through? If sometimes, if all we can do is just make it through, how in the world, Cutler, do you suggest that we make it through? Is there some way that we can just make it through? Well, there is. There is. And one of the things that you do just to make it through is sometimes you just have to busy yourself. And that means you might have to just tackle a task or a chore, something that you've been avoiding. So sometimes tackling a chore or task that you've been avoiding will take your mind off the thing that is causing you pressure, the thing that is causing you stress, the thing that is causing you anxiety. So from time to time, just busy yourself with doing something that you've been avoiding. Not just for the sake of being busy, but there are some tasks, some things that you've wanted to achieve, some things that you've wanted to do. Just go right ahead and do it. Just start. Don't overthink it. Just go right ahead and do it. Because sometimes when people feel low, when they feel scared, when they feel like they're short on self-confidence, all of those sorts of things, they tend to retreat and do nothing. But you need to do the very opposite thing. You need to act as though you have confidence in your ideas. You have to act as though you have confidence in your capabilities. You have to act as if you have confidence in your capacity to see this thing through. You have to do all of that because it provides you with this antidote to those feelings that can sometimes cause you to feel negative and cause you to just spiral down. So do the opposite sometimes of what you feel. Don't retreat. Don't retreat at all. Do not retreat. Don't go to bed. Don't pull the covers over your head. Do not retreat, but tackle some of those things that may be unfamiliar, but you've been wanting to do. That's how you just make it through. Because you create a diversion. You create something to distract you, to take your mind off the thing that causes you stress and anxiety. That's how you make it through. You have to be intentional and deliberate and say, "I'm getting through. Doesn't matter what I have to go through, I'm getting through." If I have to busy myself doing something other than what I usually do, but something that is productive, then do that. And another way that you can just make it, I'm just talking about just making it through, y'all. If you've never had to see yourself barely making it, just trying to make it, you call on everybody to give me help, Lord, give me help, and you call on the whole heavenly host. I'm telling you, sometimes you've just got to make it through. Here's something else you can do. Don't overload yourself. Don't bombard yourself. Sometimes all you can just do is say, "You know what, let me just at least do a fraction of my work." When you're down, and when you're out, and when you have anxiety, being productive can help you. It can help you develop some kind of emotional resilience. So don't overload yourself, but just say to yourself, "You know what? The most I can be right now is productive." And so if I have to cut my load in half, I'm going to cut my load in half for the sake of being productive. Because when you're productive, it helps you. It helps you develop this kind of resilience. It boosts your mood. It does. It does. Don't weigh yourself down. Do it in a half, a fourth, a third. It'll work to your advantage. I promise you it will. Because you will feel successful, you will feel victorious, you will feel like you will have won, and you will. And then here's something else. You heard me earlier talking about make sure that you don't retreat. For goodness sakes and for your sake, don't retreat. Learn how to connect with other people. When you're just trying to make it through, sometimes you need to have people who can push you through. You need to have people who can pull you through. You need to have people who can carry you through. Connect with other people because loneliness will increase your stress, it will increase your anxiety, and it will reduce your productivity. That's what loneliness will do. Because a lot of times when we're just trying to make it through, we retreat into a space of loneliness. And loneliness just does not happen. That's not the same thing as being aloneness. You could be in a crowd of people and still feel lonely. So one of the things that you want to do is to make sure that you don't find yourself in the space called loneliness, because you want to make sure that you don't increase your stress. You don't want to increase your anxiety, but you want to reduce all of that so that you can increase your productivity. Listen, let me just say this. When you're going through sometimes and you're having bad days and you're walking through the storms and you're going through the storms and the pitfalls and the hurdles in life, and it looks like life is just throwing you limits, or life is throwing you curveballs, don't you think that other people know that? Sometimes other people are aware of it. And I'm speaking to myself, having just buried my grandmother. One of the things that I understand is that people understand that I am dealing with anxiety. And so don't be afraid to be vulnerable with your family and with your friends. And when you're not feeling 100%, make sure that you say to somebody, find somebody who you can say, listen, I'm not feeling 100% right now. I'm going through. We don't like to say that because it makes us feel needy, as if needy is a bad word. I want you to remove that word from the bad word list. Remove vulnerable from the bad word list, because those are not bad words. Those are words that speak to the human experience. Be okay with saying, I'm not 100% today. I'll get through it, but I'm not 100% today. Be okay with saying things like that. I'm just trying to talk. Really, God knows I'm trying to help save somebody else's life today, because this is about just how do I just make it through? I can't get over it, but Cutler said at least I can try to get through it. And when you reach out to other people, that will help them understand why you may be a bit less peppy or happy than usual. They know it, but it will help them say, oh, good grief, that's right. He's going through, she's going through. They're just trying to make it through. Connect with other people. And maybe you can connect with other people whom you've pulled through or pushed through or carried through or walked through. That is the beauty. That is the beauty of intimate friendship. Intimacy is not necessarily, it doesn't have anything to do with the word, the connotation or the synonym. It's not sexual. Intimacy means that you're doing things without the expectation of something done in return. That's what it's all about. And so we have these intimate friendships where you do what you do, not because you're expecting something in return, but you do what you do because you love the other person, because you have the interest and the well-being of that person at heart. And so you connect with these people, you help them, and I promise you what you do will come back to you. It is true, you reap what you sow. So learn how to connect with other people. And when you connect with those other people, I promise you there's somebody who will pull you through, push you through, or even carry you through. So Cutler says one of the ways that we can just make it through the day is to connect with other people. And for goodness sakes, drop your fear of negative emotions. Sadness is a negative emotion, but drop your fear of that. There is no need to worry about these difficult emotions, thinking that they will prevent you from being productive. I've been productive in the midst of my sadness. I have. And so have some of you. Some of you look back over your track, look over your track record. Some of you have still managed to make it even in the midst of being angry, in the midst of being discouraged, in the midst of being sad. Some of you know that you've made it through those moments. Am I alone? You know you've made it through those moments. And those were negative emotions. Bitterness, sadness, anxiety, depression, all of those things. But you made it through. So drop your fear of those negative emotions. thinking that they're going to destroy your productivity, because they aren't. Some of you have raised children in the midst of negative emotions. Some of you have taken care of families in the midst of negative emotions. Some of you have gone to work and been productive in the midst of negative emotions. Some of you have done wonderful in the midst of negative emotions. So drop your fear of these negative emotions. Anger, bitterness, sadness, resentment, all of those things, we have still managed to be productive. Why? Because many times we had to. And because if we've done it in the past, just understand and know that you can do it again. It may be a different set of emotions, it may be a different kind of emotions, but you can make it through. Your negative emotions don't have to hinder your productivity at all. As a matter of fact, sometimes you can turn that into this energy source that will catapult you and propel you and give you the inertia to keep on going. It is called channeling. How do I channel those energies? How do I channel that emotion? Channel it in such a way that you are determined to be productive and that you are determined to make it. Because sometimes you have to say, listen, it's not going to be this way always. I'm not going to stay here. I'm going to get through, because on the other side of through, Cutler reminded me there are some beautiful things. There are some hopeful things. There are some things that are full of promise on the other side of through. So just make sure that you hang on to that, and that you just walk through that, because there's some things that you don't need to do. There's some things that when you are feeling overwhelmed and just trying to make it through, there's some things that you don't want to do, some things that you want to avoid, some habits, some behaviors that you just want to run away from. You have anxiety, you're feeling stressed out. I'll tell you some things that you need not do. Don't focus on the things that's causing you stress. Do not focus on the things that are causing you stress. That is why I said earlier, sometimes we have to create diversions. Do something unfamiliar. Do something that you want to get done, even if you can do only half of it. Stop focusing on the thing that's causing you stress. We all face stress, you all. And it's natural. It is natural to think about the things that are causing you stress. But when I talk about being intentional and deliberate, don't fall into the trap where you're intensifying the stress that's going on in your life. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not saying that you have to avoid and pretend that the stressing situations and the crises in your life didn't happen. That's not what I'm saying. There are some things that we can't do anything about. Some things that we can't do anything about. Sometimes people divorce and the divorce is final and the divorce is it. They're not going to undivorce. They're not. Sometimes people go bankrupt and they lose all of their money. They're not going to unlose the money. Sometimes when things happen, there are things that you just can't do anything about to reverse it. My grandmother just passed. I can't undo that. So what am I saying? Create diversions so that you don't have to focus on that all the time. And then stop losing sleep. Make yourself go to sleep. Make yourself go to bed. If you've got to get out and exercise to the point that your body is tired, make sure that you get your sleep. Because there are lots of things that will contribute to your stress levels, things that will contribute to your anxiety level, but make sure that sleep deprivation is not one of them, because it makes the biggest impact. It makes the biggest impact on how you think, how you be, how you show up. Sleep deprivation can be a monster. It can be a monster. That is why sometimes it is important to get out of the space and the environment where you may find yourself dealing with sleep deprivation. Don't lose sleep. Don't lose sleep. I get it. Stress can impact and affect our ability to get quality sleep, but to the extent that you can, try to practice good sleeping habits. Walk, exercise, do jumping jacks, do something, but get some sleep. And then stop eating junk. Because now what's happening, I'm telling us things not to do. Stop eating junk, because when you realize that you're eating junk, you're not feeding your body the nutritious things that it needs. Last night, I'm just going to be very honest. Last night, I had to tell myself, Cutler, just go to bed. Just go to bed. I'm being very honest, because I was doing the very healthy thing, just eating my grapes, and said, yep, I got my fruit. I'm going to eat my grapes. But there in front of me, I'm telling you all this because you all do know this. You can live. It doesn't matter where you live. If you are a Southerner, here's what Southerners will do. When people die, Southerners are going to bring food. They are. They're just going to bring food because they think you're stressed out. They think you're not going to cook. They think you're running so many errands until you don't have time to eat. So they're just going to bring food. I mean, all kinds of food. So after I was sitting there eating my grapes, I looked around and there was chocolate cake. There was coconut cake. There was strawberry cake. Thank goodness I had gotten rid of the sweet potato pie. And I said to myself, Cutler, just go to bed. You've eaten the grapes, now just go to bed. So I'm saying that, tongue in cheek, but I'm so serious. Make sure that you stop eating junk. When you're just trying to make it through, when you're stressed out, just don't eat a whole lot of junk. Don't eat a whole lot of junk. And here is something else that I found to be true. Make sure that you don't develop unhealthy relationships. Because relationships can be a tremendously wonderful way of stress relief. Emotional support is wonderful. People can be amazing, helpful resources. They can offer stability. But one of the things that you want to make sure that you do is not to build unhealthy relationships. You don't want to go back to people who really never added anything to your life. Sometimes we go back to what we know, what was comfortable at the time. But don't lean on people who you can never lean on before. And sometimes they'll show up in your moments of stress. And what happens then is that it causes this internal conflict. And that in and of itself, because now you're trying to decide, do I want to go into this unhealthy relationship, this relationship from the past, this space of comfort? Just don't do that. What am I saying? I'm saying don't fall prey to people who mean you no good. That's all I'm saying. When you're just trying to make it through, when you're feeling stressed out, again, when you want to get to the other side of through and see the beauty on the other side of through, do not fall prey to relationships that mean you no good and never make you any good in the first place. Just don't do it. Don't do it. It's important. It's important to make sure that you surround yourself with people who are interested in your well-being. And then I said this earlier, don't burden yourself. Don't overload yourself. That is why at one point, you all heard me say this earlier, just cut some of your routine in half. Do half of what you normally do. Do 1/3, do 1/4 of what you normally do. It's a success. It's a win. It's a victory. Just get it done. But don't overburden yourself with unnecessary stuff. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Most of you all know I'm speaking from a place of practicality for me at this point, at this stage in my life. And this is the advice that I probably come back and listen to this and say, Cutler, you've got to eat your own food, eat your own meal, eat your own words, take your own advice. Because sometimes for as much as we offer, we fail to take our own advice. And so as a content creator, I have to make sure that I take my own advice. I have to come back and look at this screen and hear myself talking to myself. Have to do that. I have to make sure I watch my thinking patterns. I have to be careful of what's taking up a whole lot of real estate in my mind, in my emotions. I have to be very careful. When you're just trying to make it through, make sure that you watch and that you're careful about the things that are taking up real estate in your mind, in your soul, in your heart. Because after all, you're just trying to make it. And I mentioned it earlier, when it comes to sleep and sleep deprivation, don't put off exercise. Take care of your body. Take care of your body, your heart, your mind, and your soul. It will help you feel less stressed. It'll build your resilience. One of the things that I did for my mother, and many of you know and love my mother, and I appreciate you for knowing and loving her. One of the things that I did, I said to her, Mom, let's go for a walk. Let's just get out and let's go for a walk. You all would have been very proud of her because she walked for over 3 miles. You can congratulate her in the comments if you want to. She did an amazing job. I said, Mom, let's just go for a walk. Let's not put off exercise. Let's just get out here, and so we can burn off some of this stress. We can burn off some of this anxiety. We can talk about what we're dealing with and as we're walking. But a lot of people have difficulty just getting up off the sofa, just getting up out of the bed, just getting up off the couch. Those are the times when we would benefit the most from exercise. It's when we're going through stress and when you're just trying to make it through. So stop. And again, Cutler, why not retreat? Because you don't want to miss opportunities for productivity. You don't want to miss opportunities to be victorious. You don't want to miss opportunities to be successful. Don't miss opportunities, because a lot of times when you're dealing with anxiety, when you're dealing with stress, and you feel defeated, you feel tired, you feel like it's going to be flight or fight. When you feel all of that, you miss these opportunities and you don't take advantage of these situations that would give you a chance to check off a win. We all experience disappointments. We all experience personal failures. We all experience pains, and we all experience all of that stuff. And sometimes we all want to throw in the towel. And that would make this temporary setback even much larger. But may I tell you this? One of the reasons we spend this time talking, we spend these 1,800 seconds sharing back and forth on this show, on this broadcast, on this platform, is because it's not always about inspiration. It's not always about motivation, but many times it is about challenging ourselves. When you're dealing with anxiety and stress, challenge yourself to say, listen, it's going to be better than this. And I'm up for the challenge of whatever it takes. I'm going to make it through, because there's a promise on the other side of through. There's a light on the other side of through. There's hope on the other side of through. There's victory on the other side of through. There's peace on the other side of through. There's beauty on the other side of through. May not get rid of my scars, but at least I got some victories along with the scars. It may not get rid of my tears, but I still have some wins along with my tears. It may not get rid of all of my pain, but I have successes along with my pain. So you develop this attitude that says, I'm not going to stay here. I'm going to make it through. Because here doesn't feel good anyway. So why do I want to stay here? Here is stressing me out. So why do I want to stay here? Here is sad and depressing. Why would I want to stay here? Let me not miss the opportunities that's at least going to offer some balance in my life. Let me take ownership for discovering some of the victories that are on the other side of through. I promise you, I'm talking to myself. And you have to make sure that you don't ignore your stress. All right, I recognize my stress, and now I'm going to rechannel this. I'm going to recalibrate. I'm going to reroute this thing. And sometimes, even if you have to seek help to deal with your stress management, that's fine. That's okay. Be vulnerable. Get help. Be vulnerable. Build positive, healthy relationships, even if it's on a professional platform. I just wanted to share this with us, you all, again, because as I read that quote earlier today, I'll share it again. In life, there are some things we might never really get through. You don't get through the death of a grandparent. You don't get through the death of a parent. Don't get through you don't get over the death of a grandparent. You don't get over the death of a parent. You don't get over those things. In life, there are some things we might never really get through. Sometimes it's the best we can do is just to get through. So you might not get over, but the best you can do is just to get through it. But that's okay. There's still a lot of beauty to find on the other side of through. And can I share this piece with you? When you learn and focus on getting through, You're striving to become better. And you have to say to yourself, I'm worth better. When we strive, here's another quote, when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. Say to yourself, I'm not going to be here always. I'm feeling low. I'm feeling these emotions. I'm dealing with all of this, but I'm not going to be here always. I may not get through it. I may not get over it, but I'll get through it. And as I get through it, as I desire to get through it, I'm already better. And because I'm better, I'm making everything around me better. Don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. Don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. Because a lot of us spend a whole lot of time waiting for tomorrow. Don't do that. Start saying to yourself today, I am going to make it through. I thank you all so much for giving me this platform. And may I say to you all this evening, this may have been more for me than it is for any of you all. But thank you for listening. Thank you for indulging me. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your thoughts, your prayers, your encouragement. Thank you for all of that. Thank you so much for all of that. All right, lots to think about. I see. Lots to think about. Let's see, trying to get my confidence to that point without having my biggest supporter anymore, my mom. Tracy, I totally understand. Wow, I totally understand. I'm going through that now. Yeah, Paula D, I know you are my friend. Yeah, many of us are. Many of us are. We are. We have so many commonalities. So why don't we do this? Rarely do I say this, but let's keep each other in our thoughts and prayers. Let's keep building community and let's keep maintaining connectivity. Stay safe, stay sane, keep your heads up, keep your hopes up. And just know that I wish I could grab each of your hand and we just all walk through together. But somehow virtually we're doing that. We're grabbing hands and we're walking through together. Please know from my heart to yours, that is and always will be so much love. I'll see you all the next time I see you. Good evening. Good night.